Looking at the upper 80s in the mountains. No surprises in the deserts. It's not going to feel great. 108, 9, 10, and 11. But watch what happens through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So everybody cools off a touch, but this will come at the expense of some humidity. So we'll have, it looks like right now, there will be another surge in the monsoon cloud. So as that cloud passes overhead, it'll help keep us cooler. It'll block that solar radiation. But it's going to bring that monsoon moisture with it. So again, you hear me say this a lot. It's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. It will end up dropping your temperatures in the mountains as well and in through the deserts. But because that cloud, it's going to be a mid-level moisture transport, but it's going to saturate the atmosphere from kind of the mid-levels on down. So it'll feel stickier for us. Best chance for a pop-up thunderstorm right now looks like Thursday and Friday. So that also tells you that'll be your stickiest 2 days of the week right now. I will certainly keep you posted on what it will feel like as we trade off. For now, Drogon and I will say we'll see you on the news at 5.
As we get started on the news at 5 tonight, a growing sense of uncertainty across the U.S. as new cases of COVID are adding up. The tightening of restrictions happening again as health officials plead with people, please get vaccinated.
Plus, the major malware campaign targeting dozens of companies, some here in San Diego, have been stopped tonight. What data may have been compromised in the international hacking scheme?
And it's no secret that affordable housing is tough to come by. We'll break down Mayor Gloria's new plan aimed at changing that trend and making homes more accessible for all.
NBC 7 News at 5 starts now.
Thanks for joining us as we continue with the news at 5. I'm Mark Mullen.
I'm Monica Dean. Nice to have you here. COVID cases are now on the rise across the country, causing concern from Capitol Hill to the Olympic Games in Tokyo.
L.A. County is once again under a mask mandate, and a top medical association is urging universal masking in schools regardless of vaccine status. Investors are also worried about the cases. The Dow was hammered today. Alice Barr begins our coverage.
Today, COVID cases are up across all 50 states, and stocks are down on Wall Street amid fears that a pandemic rebound could slow the economy.
We know that our economic recovery hinges on getting the pandemic under control.
In a speech about the economy, President Biden urging holdouts to get vaccinated.
Virtually all hospitalizations and deaths are occurring among unvaccinated Americans. These tragedies are avoidable.
With the highly contagious Delta variant driving the rise in cases, hospitalizations, and deaths, Los Angeles County is once again requiring masks indoors. And the American Academy of Pediatrics is recommending all students and staff nationwide wear masks in school, whether or not they're vaccinated. High-profile cases of breakthrough infections among the fully vaccinated are drawing attention, from an alternate on the U.S. women's Olympic gymnastics team to 5 Texas Democrats who traveled to D.C. to stall their state's controversial voting rights legislation.
The good news is these vaccines are incredibly effective in preventing severe disease, probably close to 100%. That's still true.
The U.S. vaccination rate has dropped by more than 35% over the past week. After a sharp exchange with Facebook, President Biden still insisting the social media giant needs to weed out dangerous misinformation about vaccines. Facebook took exception to President Biden's wording, saying that the platform was killing people. The president today saying it's the rapidly spreading misinformation that's killing people, but Facebook needs to do more to stop it. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy says making kids wear masks at schools is an important way to stop the spread of the virus.
I want to get your reaction to the National Academy of Pediatrics recommendation that kids in school over the age of 2 wear masks, whatever their vaccination status may be. Is that something you support?
Well, Lester, what we've learned during this pandemic is that masks are an effective strategy for preventing the spread of infection, and especially for kids who are younger, especially for kids who are not vaccinated. Masks are an important strategy. It's what we saw in the CDC guidelines that came out last week for schools. And as a dad who's got young kids who are 3 and 4 who are going to be in school who don't have the ability to get vaccinated yet, that masking will be an important strategy to help protect our children.
And you'll see more on what Dr. Murthy has to say about vaccine misinformation and the ongoing struggle to vaccinate Americans on Nightly News with Lester Holt right after this newscast at 5:30.
A San Diego woman says she contracted the coronavirus despite being fully vaccinated, but she believes the vaccine actually saved her life, and she's encouraging those on the fence to consider getting it. 37-year-old Erica Castillo says she got her second Pfizer shot in May, and over the July 4th weekend, she went out to dinner with a friend. Castillo says days later she tested positive for COVID-19 and got so sick she couldn't breathe. She says an antibody treatment helped her recover, and she believes the vaccine helped her body fight the virus. Let's take a quick look at how the COVID numbers are looking here in San Diego. Over the past few days, our county has been reporting around 500 new cases daily. On Friday, we saw 501, Saturday 467, yesterday 439. Those figures are far up from what we were seeing just 2 weeks ago. Then 100 cases or less were being identified each day. Canada will allow fully vaccinated Americans to travel into the country in just 3 weeks. Starting on August 9th, anyone who has received a full course of shots at least 2 weeks prior can cross the border. And U.S. children under 12 who are not vaccinated can also travel as long as they are with a vaccinated adult. Visitors from the rest of the world will also be allowed to enter Canada starting on September 7th, as long as cases there remain under control.
Governor Newsom today signed a $12 billion bill to address homelessness in the state over the next 2 years. He said the money will go towards 42,000 new housing units for the homeless and expansion of the state's Home Key program. $1.1 billion will help clean up streets, and $3 billion will address mental health issues and addiction issues. Governor Newsom said there's also $2 billion in discretionary funds to be given out as bonuses to cities that do a good job addressing the issue.
Today, Mayor Todd Gloria unveiled a package of policy initiatives aimed at addressing the affordable housing crisis here in San Diego. NBC7's political reporter Priya Sridhar breaks it down.
Every political leader in California is always talking about the lack of affordable housing, the homelessness issue, and the potential brain drain that's happening here because everything is so expensive. Today, Mayor Gloria announced his plans on how to tackle these issues.
Whether you're renting or buying, finding an affordable home is hard in San Diego and not getting any easier. Construction in Bankers Hill.
Thank you all so much for being here.
And Mayor Gloria is unveiling his proposals at a development that he says will be setting aside 11 of its 100 units for affordable housing. The mayor is highlighting the project, which is using a program meant to increase density in exchange for affordable units. It's his attempt at addressing the issue.
We don't have nearly enough homes that our residents can afford, and that it makes addressing these challenges so much harder.
He calls this plan, quote, homes for all of us, and says housing issues shouldn't just focus on either the unsheltered or the affluent population. So what are the mayor's plans? He says he wants to create a working group of middle-income housing for people who make 80 to 120% of San Diego's median income, and to create more housing at city facilities and on underused commercial sites. He also wants affordable housing to be available in all communities and not just certain neighborhoods. San Diego housing activists say the real test of the mayor's plans will be in the details.
A lot of it is general in nature because it's aspirational, and I think what's really important is recognize this is a set of policies that are going to work their way through a variety of public hearing processes.
In addition to all of those proposals, Mayor Gloria says he also wants to add density bonuses for developments that have 3 or 4 bedrooms. He says he wants San Diego to be a place that families can afford. Priya Sridhar, NBC7.
The mayor also said he wants to create more single-room occupancy units to help the unhoused population get a roof over their heads.
Thousands of local sailors and their families are getting ready to say goodbye to San Diego. After a tough couple of years, USS Theodore Roosevelt is relocating to the Pacific Northwest. As NBC7's Audra Stafford explains, the ship will be undergoing some planned maintenance and upgrades that will benefit both the sailors and their mission.
The Roosevelt has been stationed here at NAS North Island since 2015, and there's a good chance that it could come back in a few years. But if it does, it'll be renewed and improved.
It is exciting just to go in and then see how the ship comes out on the backside.
The USS Theodore Roosevelt is headed to Bremerton, Washington, where it will spend at least the next year and a half undergoing maintenance and upgrades at the Puget Sound Naval Shipyard. The Roosevelt's hull, rudder, propulsion shaft, and anchor will all be refurbished. Perhaps most exciting, though, the ship will receive a system retrofit to accommodate the F-35C Lightning II. The ship's commanding officer, Captain Eric Anduze, says the improvements will make them more combat ready and make their jobs a little easier.
Not only are we making improvements to things that have been obsolete in the past, but we also make quality of life insurance. Our racks are different. Our berthings get improved. It makes a sailor's life a little bit better.
About 3,000 sailors will be relocating to Bremerton along with their families. Although it's a big change, Anduze says they're ready for it, though they will miss a few things about San Diego.
I was recalling earlier with a sailor the fact that I don't remember when was the last time I checked the Weather Channel. This weather is fantastic. The hospitality of the people of San Diego has been amazing. We will miss that, but we look forward to our new community, our new friends, and what they have to offer.
The Roosevelt is set to arrive in Bremerton this Thursday, the 22nd. From North Island, I'm Audra Stafford, NBC 7.
Well, as many of you well know, the last year and a half has been pretty tumultuous for the crew of the Roosevelt. Shortly after leaving on deployment in January 2020, you'll remember the ship was stricken by an outbreak of COVID-19. One sailor, in fact, died. Hundreds had to be quarantined. Ship's captain was ultimately relieved of duty. The Roosevelt wrapped up another deployment in May. 3 positive cases then. The Navy said, unlike the first time, the Roosevelt was following an aggressive mitigation strategy and no other outbreaks were reported.
Okay, let's check in with Dagmar now. She has a look at our first alert weather forecast, and we got an impressive display of thunder and lightning on Saturday. I wonder if we're going to see any more of that in the week to come. Hi, Dagmar.
Yeah, hi there. Yeah, so we did get those pop-up thunderstorms. Like I was telling you, a lot of that would be over the mountains and deserts, but because it had a slight movement to it that pulled it over the inland valleys, you could absolutely see and hear it no matter where you were in San Diego County. So that was the surge of moisture that if you look right now, take a peek at this particular satellite radar image. See all that cloud that's over the Pacific Northwest? That is the surge of monsoon moisture that is traveling through that region. But unfortunately, they're also looking at, look at all the watches and warnings and again excessive heat warnings that they're dealing with there. So they have some really nasty weather that they're contending with at the moment, whereas here in San Diego we're kind of in between those two patterns. So the pop-up thunderstorms for Saturday and yesterday kind of sweeping through and out of San Diego County left us with a beautiful Sunday, and at the moment just a glorious Monday. We'll continue to see really, I would say, mostly clear skies through the day tomorrow, but a little bit of this surge of moisture will begin to sweep in from the south and from the southeast again. It will not have the kick associated with it in terms of carrying this much moisture in the atmosphere with this surge as it did on Saturday, but not far out there. We are looking at another one for Thursday and Friday. Until then, another muggy night. I'll be back with the rest of this forecast in a moment.
Straight ahead, a symbolic artistic statement being made at our border today. The message its creators are hoping is heard.
A group of Chinese nationals being held accountable for massive years of long hacking schemes. What we know about the information that may have been stolen from local companies.
When we welcome our viewers in the West, the COVID shocker for Team USA, the American athletes now under quarantine just days before opening ceremony in Tokyo. Also, the price you pay, looking at the soaring costs of used cars and what's driving up their value when we see you back here tonight.